room, cold. And there's this smell that's very familiar to me. A smell that I remember from my previous occupation as a registered nurse. I'm at St. Vincent's Hospital in a ward that's been closed down. The beds are empty in this big ward, but one bed is occupied with my father. It's my 33rd birthday, and the doctors have just been to talk to my mother and I to share that my father, they cannot do any more for my father. So my father at 55 years old, 10 months ago, was the first man in Australia to have a lung transplant. Now he lies in his bed waiting for his last breath. The religious minister gives him his last rites, and we watch him take his last breath. My mother sits opposite, I sit opposite her, the medical and staff are here. My hand's at the top of his head, and I'm saying to him, I love you, Dad. I just want you to be at peace. As he's being watched, he takes his last breath and is watched by all of us. His body goes limp. The doctors and nurses turn to my mother and console her, and they all turn their backs to the bed. In this moment, I can't look away from my father. I continue to look at him. Suddenly, he opens his eyes and he's looking for something. Is he looking for my mother? He's looking around. Mum, quickly, come, Dad's got his eyes open. So everyone comes back to the bed. My mother's looking at him. They lock eyes, and my father has one tear go down his cheek. He closes his eyes, and I feel this breeze pass my hand, past his head and my hand. What was that? And then we don't see anymore. His eyes are closed. But what I feel is this, my gut feeling, which I can't doubt, this feeling that he's still in the room. He's up in the corner, the right-hand side of the room. Thinking, wow, I've never seen that before. I'd been a nurse for quite a few years, and I'd never seen anyone come back into their body like that before. The doctors and nurses come over and talk to my mother and I, and they say, we've never seen anything like that before. But they did not know my mother and father. My father adored my mother. And they had a very strong relationship of love. And my father had that transplant because he didn't really want to leave my mother. So he came back again and said goodbye. Now this shook me up because I didn't know that I could feel so much in the other fields. So I went on a search after this to start devouring books on what happens on the other side, and maybe find one of those women, you know, those channel ladies who tell you about the dead. Maybe I can talk to him. Maybe I can find out how to do it. So I was on this mission. But along this time, a few months had passed, and I was actually denying the fact that my father, that I needed to look at what was happening to me. So, I'm at work, and I'm having a pretty bad day, but then the last few weeks, I'd been having every day as a bad day. I was getting really, really angry with the printer. The office smelled of coffee because I was just consuming so much coffee. My body was so tired I couldn't stay awake. So I was filling up on expensive supplements. Any food that had sugar in it, I was devouring it. Every day at work I was eating cakes, anything it took. My body was getting really tired. And this particular day, My assistant comes in. I'm in a management role and I can't think. My head is going really cloudy in these past few weeks. And she's helping me make decisions. I'm pushing the printer and it won't work. I've got photocopier going, clackety, clackety, clack in the background, but the printer won't work. She comes in and she says, "Oh, Deb, what can I help you?" This has been her conversation for the last few weeks. "Can I help you?" She comes in, she touches the button and it goes click, 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 and it starts working. I go, "Oh, no, I can't take this anymore. I'm so tired, I can't think. All the machines keep misbehaving. I can't take it anymore." And so I get frustrated. In the meantime, while this has been going on the last few weeks, I've been peeing blood because my kidneys I've had a really bad infection in my kidneys. My blood pressure has been through the roof and I've got a gut full of ulcers. So when this happens, I think I've just got to stop now. My body has screamed enough. I need to stop. So I see the doctor. The doctor says, "You've got adrenal, your body has crashed. You've gone into adrenal crisis. You have no more, and you've used up all your sources of energy. Your adrenal system is gone. You've damaged it. You need to rest. There's no other way. And we don't have any cure for you apart from resting." And then on top of that, he says, "You've probably done damage for the rest of your life. Your chronic fatigue may improve somewhat, but you probably won't be back to where you were before when you were healthy." This is a big blow for me. I've got this life with all these things I want to do, and he's telling me I'm not going to move from this chronic fatigue and this tiredness, and he doesn't even know how long it's going to take me if I ever do recover from it. So anyway, I agree to go home and I leave my job. I have time off. This is too much for me. I have to have a drink. So I got home and I'm sleeping all day. And if it wasn't for my flatmate, I wouldn't have breakfast and I wouldn't have dinner. So it's a pretty heavy situation. I can't stay awake. My body has really crashed. I'm at home, and the one thing that's happened for me is my dog, who's only 2 years old, Charles. I've been walking him twice a day, and now he's sitting at the end of my bed, and he's my loyal companion. And he waits for me to wake up in the day, and follows me to the toilet, and comes back, and then he sits, and he looks me in the eye, and my heart melts, and I think, oh my God, that's the only love that I feel. I have actually shut down everything inside me with this grief that I'm not looking at around my father. But my dog has managed to show me that there is some love still left in there. So I go into this really, really dark place, and the guilt that I feel for not walking my dog puts me in a very dark place as well, because I feel like I can't even give the energy to him, I can't give the energy to my friends. I've shut myself down and away from everything. My friends start noticing that I'm getting very depressed. And my sister notices it as well. And she suggests to me, "Why don't you learn meditation, Deb? It might help you and help you get more energy." Meditation? I don't know how to do that. She said, "A friend of mine told me about a place in the Blue Mountains. It's a Buddhist retreat. If you go there for a week, it might just help." A Buddhist retreat? Well, I can't find anything else that's worked. I've tried colonics. I've tried natural health therapies, tonics, herbal tonics. I've tried everything that I can naturally. So I go to this retreat. It's beautiful. It's up on top of a mountain in the Blue Mountains, and you overlook the Jamison Valley. And you have little huts that you stay in, little cabins, and you have a meditation hall. About 100 people go there. So I arrive on this day, and what they say is, no journaling, no diaries, no phones, and no talking. We meditate for 10 hours a day for 10 days. What? I can't do that. Oh. So I think about it and I go, well, I was at home contemplating suicide. I only went there because I thought this is the last option I have. I actually had a plan in place when I was at home. If this doesn't work, I'm going to use it. And it was when my flatmate was going to be at work. I had it all worked out. So I thought, I haven't got any other options. I've got to do this. So I sign it. I'm in the facility now. So I locked myself in there for 10 days. And each day comes up, so I'm sitting in the meditation hall. It's day 4, and I've been through 3 days of absolute hell. My body has been so painful trying to sit in this meditation on all these cushions, and I'm with 100 other people, and they're pushing me and kicking me because their minds are like mine, crazy minds. Our minds are trying to get us out of there. And I'm trying to hang on, going, no, I want to stay, I've got to stay, there's no other way for me. And so on day 4, so all for 3 days, my mind's been playing all sorts of negative thoughts for me to get me out of there. Day 4, I'm here. I come in the morning and I look around the hall and there's hardly anyone in there. And I'm looking going, it's 4:30 in the morning, where is everybody? Did I miss something? Anyway, I talked to one of the helpers and they say to me, oh, on day 4, 3 and 4, a lot of people can't do the commitment, so they leave. Wow, I'm still here! Surprise! I've got to here, this is pretty good. And the bonus is, I've got all this space. I haven't got everyone kicking me and shoving me, sitting on cushions. Now I can sit and just be calm. And day 4 was the day I turned up in the centre, in the meditation room, and felt like my head had actually slowed down. All those negative thoughts I was having just kind of went to the back of my head, and my heart started opening a little bit. I started feeling it because I'd locked it right up from everything. And so it was a good day for me, lots of space, and I was feeling a bit better. I wasn't there yet. But anyway, I worked on the morning shift in there. Lunchtime I went outside and I was sitting out in the garden. And I was enjoying nature. Oh yes, I just love it up here, that beautiful mountain air. It smells like perfume. And looking at the flowers and plants, I so love nature. As I sat there, this kind of vibration went through my body, up from the bottom of my body, up to my head and came out the top of my head and all around me. And my whole reality just shifted and my heart broke open. I thought, what was that? And I was like in this different state. My awareness was heightened. I could feel all the plants like they were part of me. The trees had a glow around them. The flowers in the garden had this beautiful fragrance about them. The mountain air was so fresh. I was just sitting there in bliss. And I'm thinking, is this enlightenment? Is this what those mystics talk about? No, I had a spiritual awakening, an epiphany of all my senses when my heart broke open from all that meditating that I did. It shifted my energy in my body. And that allowed me to feel a lighter vibration. And in that lighter vibration, I could feel everything around me. It took me a while to work that one out, but I did work it out eventually. And so that light vibration was helping me see my life differently. Now I was looking at the world with these new eyes. My work suddenly wasn't important to me anymore. The career thing was like, no, that's not my life anymore. I saw the lies that were on the planet, things that were being done, the marketing stuff, everything was just falling away from me as being, I don't want to be part of that anymore. And so this beautiful bliss was still in me, and I had this incredible compassion for myself, which I'd never had before. And this compassion wanted to be with help other people find that compassion. So after the 10 days, I felt this blissfulness within me. Someone could have hit me in the face and I just would have gone, oh, I'm sorry that you've got pain. That's what I was feeling. It was bizarre. Anyway, it lasted for about 5 or 6 weeks and it wore off. My energy got a bit more solid. I became more grounded, actually. That's what happened. So this groundedness brought me back into... I was still in this different reality, though. I was still looking at everything so differently, like the trees and the plants were communing with me, I swear. I was hearing and seeing things really differently. And people around me, I could feel them and I felt their wounds and things. So I was very sensitive to everything. So I stayed at home for quite a while until I started getting a bit more grounded. And so after this experience, my heart was really loudly calling me to different things. So my mind had gone quieter. I controlled my mind now. And my heart was loud. It was screaming on what it wanted me to do. And so my heart started directing me in different ways. And some of those things were, I needed to move out of Sydney. I didn't need to be there anymore. I need to be in a regional area because I want to be closer to nature. And I have a different life now. I don't want to be in that life that I had before. I left my friends behind and I needed to lighten up. So I left things behind in Sydney and moved to the Central Coast. And when I moved here, doors started opening up. I had this really nice house. I had all this beautiful bush around me and nature, wildlife. And then I went to look for a job and there was a job for me. Someone found me and it was part-time and I loved it and I was working in the community. So over the next few years, I wanted to share my compassion. So how was I going to do that? I started learning transpersonal art therapy counselling. I became a yoga teacher and a dance therapist. And I combined all that and I started running heart journey workshops on the Central Coast. And from those workshops, the participants were leaving feeling empowered and joyful. And they'd seen things in their life that they may not have seen before because I took them on these shamanic journeys. And I was on the spiritual seeking journey as well. So I was joining groups and learning a lot about esoteric science and spirituality of the Eastern traditions. So my life had totally changed. My friendships were all different and they were growing as well as I was joining different groups. So, and then I met my husband, Nigel, up here as well, which happened fairly quickly. And we went off travelling all over the world and to different sacred places, and we've had quite an amazing journey. And we lived all over Australia for a few years as well. It's about 28 years later, my father arrives back. I'm having this blissful massage on the Central Coast. You know, one of those ones where the massage therapist has got you in this state of, oh, I'm in heaven. And then she stops. And I go, what happened? And she said, your father's on your right side. My father? Goosebumps. Oh, I can feel him. I can't miss that energy. So I said, what's he want? She said, he has a message for you that you haven't written your books. What books? You didn't get all those gifts in your life to keep them for yourself. You need to share them. What gifts is he talking about? Penny drops. Oh, I know. All those challenges and fears and things I've had to work through over the years. I need to write about how I did that and inspire other people that it's all possible to get through all these fears. No matter how dark it seems, you can get through. Okay, so I wrote my first book. 12 months later, published, awarded author, and my first book was called Seeker of Freedom and Joy. And not long after that, my second book came out, which was The Power of Love with Animals. And I became an animal communicator. Well, I already was one, but I started sharing some of the stories with other people, which has surprised some people on what was shared. And I'm on to my third book, Peace Within, just editing that now. So this all started when I was 60 years old, and it's still going, and I've been following my heart ever since. and it has not let me down. I just keep trusting it. It keeps taking me to the magic. And my father left me the biggest gift anyone could. He took me to the lowest places to fill that broken heart. But when I went through it and realised, I learned I had the strength to get through anything when I got through that. He helped me see the gifts that I had inside me, and joy and freedom and peace I didn't even know was in there. It wasn't from the outside world, it was from the inside that I found it. So thank you to my father. And I'd like to leave you with this quote. The world is patiently waiting for you to awaken your senses, to see the magic all around you. Thank you.
Adrian Ferrer.